So yeah, I don't want to get too political, but one thing I want to touch on, you get the elder generation, they call boomers or whatever they are, yeah? And they have this attitude that, young people don't want to work. Young people just want to spend their money on, like, cost of coffees and all this. All this gaslighting that goes on, yeah? But, you look at other properties around here, they're all been snapped up by the older generation who could afford them back then. Back then, your job was enough to get yourself a very decent mortgage to be able to pay for these things. Damn, my dad was able to buy a house outright when he was like 31 years old. Generation now, even me, I'm 38. We don't have a chance in hell of owning anything in England. And if we do, it's basically like a prison. We're stuck to it for 30 years? Literally having to, scrimp and save just to pay for that. It's not fair, to be honest. So, you get people who say, oh, young people don't want to work. Oh, they just want to spend all their money on holidays or cost of coffees or whatever. What motivation do they have to? Now we're in an economy where those who own, they have it all. And those who don't have to rent. And when they rent, they put even more money in the pockets of those that own. It's kind of, the system is very unbalanced, and it's quite hard unless you do something either illegal or, you have to really think outside the box. It's very hard to come up. So, you can't blame the young for having a fatalistic attitude and mentality when no matter how hard they work, they'll have to work 20 times harder than their predecessors to get the same thing. Just a bit of a food for thought, So, where's the breaking point going to be? Where is it going to end? When are governments going to wake up and put something in place for people of the future? I mean, this generation and generation forward, that's the future. And if you don't give them enough tools or means to be able to secure their future, it's going to look really bleak. That's all I'm going to say. And you look at cases in the UK now, we're suffering from brain drain more than ever. You look at the NHS, doctors and nurses would rather move to the Middle East or other countries in search of a better life and opportunities than try to suffer with a broken system, but doesn't appreciate what they do and their sacrifice. Like politicians, they make about 80 grand upwards a year, while a nurse makes about 33. And, they have the goal to charge nurses £18 a day just to park their car at work. They don't even get food on shift. They get nothing. They have to make do with a cold sandwich from the cafeteria that they pay about £3 for. As opposed to politicians that get funded a second house. They get subsidized food. They get everything. And they don't do anything. All they do is just sit and talk. They're not saving any lives. It's ridiculous, So, if governments don't fix this, if it doesn't get fixed, then there'll be more brain drain. And, you look right now, I'm in Cyprus. Why am I here? Because I can't stand my country. In England, I struggle to find a reason to get out of bed. Here, I naturally wake up at the crack of dawn and I'm ready to go out. That's the difference. A lot of people will say, well, if you don't like England, move. If I like it so much out here, why don't I just move here? I can't anymore. Because these idiots voted for Brexit. And most of those who voted for Brexit, who voted to leave, were all over the age of 50. Old school mentalities who were like, oh, let's kick all the immigrants out. And that vote was purely done on racist terms. Most people who voted for Brexit, who voted to leave, it was done with racist motives. I'm just going to say it, racist motives. People that it doesn't affect, but us, we've now had an option taken away from us that we had before. If we didn't like it in England, we could move to Spain, we could move to Cyprus, we could move to Italy or wherever, we could go to better climates. We can't do that now. I mean, we can, but it's very temporary. There's still a lot of backpackers that go to Thailand, that go to Indonesia, they teach. A lot of them do it illegally on tourist visas. And then when they get caught, the government then admonishes them for doing this. You know, they say, oh, you should have gone through the proper channels. How can you go through the proper channels if the proper channels have been taken from underneath us? That's my point. I know it seems like I'm ranting at the moment, yeah? But, you know, if any of this resonates with you, please leave a comment. Please share your thoughts on this. I want to hear, you know?